So there's a dog in this chapter. And not just any dog, it's the dog. Chapter starts off with Buggy giving an inspirational speech about how his pirate group is known all over the world despite Luffy and Zoro, a pirate hunter not having any idea who they are at all. And then he talks about time to start the Beast Show, which is a cue for his second in command, Maji the Beast Tamer, to show up. So Maji asks if he was called, yes, and he wants to know if he can kill Zoro. Buggy says, do what you want. I would take a nap. We cut back to Zoro and the crew, who mentions that they've gotten far enough from the pub that it's going to take a while for Buggy's men to catch up on them. Which is good because there's only so much an injured man can drag a big cage like that. Zoro's hit his limit because he doesn't have enough blood. He falls on the ground. At first I thought he fainted, but no, he's just laying on the ground. And he sees a dog. This is an adorable dog that's so still, Luffy asks if it's still alive. And to test it, he pokes it in the eye. The dog doesn't like that. Nobody would like that. People don't like getting poked in the eye. But unlike people, instead of being asked, please don't do that again, the dog just bites Luffy's face. So Luffy yells at the dog. Zoro yells at Luffy. They both collapse. Nami points out that if they just stay there, they're going to get found and killed. Luffy's just surprised that his navigator's there. Nami's not happy about being called a navigator and tells them that she's not with them. She's just there because she does owe Luffy a debt and throws the key on the ground. And there's this moment where they're just looking at the key, happy it's there, and then the dog eats the key. Luffy screams and starts strangling the dog, who's suddenly full of emotion. And I don't blame him because it's really, really hard not to show any emotion when your intake of oxygen is stopped. I've tried it, and it's really, really hard to look like a statue. The next panel, we see that Luffy is still in his cage because it takes a while for a dog to pass a key, I'm assuming. He sees Budo coming towards him and he wants to know if Zoro's okay. He's not because, he was stabbed in the gut. And Budo explains that he wanted him to go see the doctor that's with the rest of the villagers, but Zoro just said he'd be okay after he slept it off. Okay, first thing, how do you think you're going to be okay after sleeping with a wound like that? Second thing is, how are you going to sleep with a wound like that? I have knee problems that keep me up for hours. I got to go to bed 3 hours earlier than I would plan to because of how much my knee hurts. So, sleeping with a gut wound is beyond me. So, Poodle explains that Shushu is guarding the pet store because that's all he has left of his former master. And he's going to keep guarding it until, the end of time. So, if not for Poodle bringing him food, the dog would probably die. God damn it, Oda, even the dog has a flashback that makes me teary-eyed. Not that the other flashbacks made me teary-eyed. They were sad, but they were people, and it's kind of hard to cry over people. Have you ever met people? Each one of them is meh if you're lucky. Now, if this part was kind of slow to you, don't worry, it picks up because there's this roar that just startles the hell out of everyone. Well, Poodle and Nami, we don't know how Luffy takes it right away. And then somebody down the street is screaming, run, run. And then we get a close-up of Luffy, and he's just like, something's coming. It's a typical day and his head hurts. And Maji the Beast Tamer appears once again and has a talk with Luffy. He wants to know if Luffy's crew abandoned him and where Zoro is. Luffy doesn't want to tell him where Zoro is, but he wants to know why he's wearing a cap like that. And it's this fur. It looks like those teddy bear suits that people put their kids in, which it turns out is not a cap at all. It's just what Maji's hair looks like, which Luffy thinks is worse. So now that Maji knows talking doesn't get him anywhere with Luffy, he tells Richie, the lion's name is Richie, I guess Richard the lion and all that, to kill Luffy. The lion crushes the cage without any issue. And Luffy's happy. He's like, I'm free. And I guess he wants to jump and celebrate, but he doesn't have enough time to do it before Richie swipes at Luffy and just sends him flying into a building and then through a building. So Luffy gone, Maji notices that he's right next to a pet store, which is perfect. So he tells Richie, go on and eat everything you want to. And it's at this point that we have a close-up of Shushu, who's still guarding the store. And he's growling at the lion. He's not going anywhere. At least, not if he can choose. Not if he has his way. Final scene shows Luffy happy that he's free and that he can get to work. He says now he's got to do is take out those guys and make Nami his navigator. Damn it, Luffy! No means no. Nami said no, so that's no. Okay, One Piece people. Here's my question for you today. What the hell is Maji? I know that there's fish people and giants and all sorts of things like that in One Piece, but do we ever actually find out what he is? Because that whole hair thing, that's not how a regular person would be, and it bugs me.